The paper grocery bag slipped from my fingers, and a jar of pasta sauce shattered on my new kitchen floor, splattering red across the white tiles like paint flung in anger. I stood frozen in the doorway of my cottage, keys dangling from my hand, staring at my mother and sister inside my home. My home, which I'd only shown them photos of 3 days ago. My home, whose address I'd deliberately kept secret. "What are you doing here?" My voice sounded thin, like it belonged to someone else. Sarah whirled around, clutching a measuring tape stretched across my office room, her expression shifting from surprise to a smug confidence I knew too well. "Emma, you're home early," Mom said, rearranging my sofa and armchair into a layout I hated. "We thought you'd be at work until evening." "That doesn't answer my question." I stepped over the growing puddle of sauce, my sneakers sticking to the tiles. "How did you get in?" Mom waved her hand dismissively. "Oh, I had a key made yesterday when I stopped by to congratulate you." The memory hit me, her brief visit, asking to use the bathroom, leaving her purse on the counter while she disappeared down the hall. I hadn't thought twice about it. "You copied my keys without asking?" A tremor crept into my voice, not from fear but from a rising anger I barely recognized. "Don't be so dramatic, dear," Mom said, fluffing a throw pillow. "We're just figuring out how to make this work for everyone." "Make what work?" The question hung in the air, but I already knew the answer. It crashed into me like a wave, pulling up memories I'd buried deep. Sarah's 11th birthday with a hired clown, a backyard carnival, and a pony, while my own that year was a store-bought cake and a single candle in our dim living room. Mom's voice always the same. "It's just not in the budget for you, Emma." But for Sarah, there was always a budget. New clothes, dance lessons, a car at 16. When I told them I was house hunting last month, Mom didn't congratulate me. She'd called Sarah immediately, murmuring about opportunities. "This is my home," I said, each word sharp and cold. "Not yours, not ours, mine." I crossed to Sarah and plucked the spare key from her hand, her fingers twitching before letting go. "You can't be serious about living here alone," Sarah said, her forehead creasing with that practiced concern she used to get her way. "This place has 3 bedrooms. My kids need space, Emma. You know how cramped our apartment is. Your housing situation isn't my problem." My voice was steady now, surprising me. "After everything we've done for you?" Mom's hand flew to her chest, her eyes wide with theatrical shock. "Your sister's children need bedrooms. Family helps family, Emma. You've always known that." The weight of those words pressed down, a lifetime of expectations that I'd sacrifice for Sarah because that's what I'd always done. I'd given up summer camp so she could go to dance intensives. I'd worked 2 jobs in college while she got a free ride. But something shifted inside me, like a lock clicking into place. "You have 2 minutes to leave before I call the police." "You wouldn't dare," Mom snapped, her voice sharp. 1 minute, 50 seconds. They left, Mom slamming the door so hard the windows rattled. I slid the deadbolt shut, the click grounding me. 20 minutes later, as I scrubbed sauce from the grout, my phone rang. Dad's name flashed on the screen. "What the hell are you doing?" His voice boomed. "Your mother's in tears. You're tearing this family apart with your selfishness." I said nothing, scrubbing harder at a stubborn stain. "Sarah needs help, Emma. You've always understood that." "Always understood, always accommodated, always sacrificed." "Not anymore," I whispered, but he was still shouting, not hearing me. I hung up and stared at the family photo on my mantle. Mom, Dad, Sarah with her husband David and their 3 kids, and me off-center with a strained smile I'd worn my whole life. For the first time, I saw the pattern clearly, a lifetime of giving up pieces of myself for them. I placed the photo face down. The next morning, I sipped coffee in my quiet kitchen, trying to reclaim the peace of owning my own space. A Facebook notification pinged, and I opened it, expecting another of Sarah's perfect family posts. Instead, my breath caught. A post from 3 weeks ago, before I'd even closed on the cottage, showed Sarah's kids squeezed into their tiny apartment bedroom. The caption read, "Kids are finally getting a bigger place soon. Blessed, family first." I scrolled to the comments. A friend asked, "Which bedroom does Lily get?" Sarah's reply, "The blue one with the bay window. Max and Ethan will share the room across the hall. Mom thinks the 3rd bedroom should stay a guest room for Aunt Linda." My coffee mug slipped, splashing hot liquid across my bare feet. I barely felt the burn. 3 weeks ago. They'd been planning to take my house before I'd even signed the mortgage papers. My stomach churned, and I bolted to the bathroom, heaving as the betrayal sank in. This wasn't a spur-of-the-moment idea. It was calculated, planned, a family conspiracy to claim what I'd worked for. A text buzzed as I rinsed my mouth. It was from Dad, accidentally sent to a group chat with Mom and Sarah. "Don't worry about Emma's tantrum, she'll give in. She always does." 3 words, "she always does," summed up my role in their eyes. The shaking started in my hands, spreading until I sank to the bathroom floor, trembling against the cold tiles. The next evening, a text from Dad. "Family dinner, 7 p.m. Mom's making pot roast. We need to talk about a solution." Every instinct screamed to refuse, but a small, foolish part of me hoped they might apologize, might see me as more than a means to an end. I arrived at their house to find the table set with Mom's good china, Mom, Dad, and Sarah on one side, an empty chair waiting for me on the other, a clear division. "Emma, we're so glad you came," Mom said, her smile tight. Before I could respond, Dad slid a manila folder across the table. "We've found the perfect solution." Inside were listings for 5-bedroom houses near Sarah's kids' school, each marked with notes. "Perfect playroom, great backyard for kids. These are lovely," I said carefully, "for Sarah and David." "For all of you together," Dad corrected. Mom stirred her iced tea. "We've talked to your bank. Transferring your mortgage is simple. The price difference is manageable if we all pitch in." "You contacted my bank?" My mouth went dry. "Just preliminary talks," Mom said, waving away my shock. Sarah added, "Your furniture won't all fit, but we can sell the extra. We'll need space for the kids' bunk beds." David strolled in late, nodding at me before turning to Dad. "I was thinking about the garage. The left side works for my truck if Emma parks on the street." They were dividing my life like it was theirs to carve up. "Refusing to help shows you don't care about family," Dad said, his voice dropping to the tone he used when I was a kid who disappointed him. Mom reached forward, not quite touching my hand. "Think of your nieces and nephew. Children remember who was there for them. Family comes first in this town." Sarah's eyes narrowed. "What will people think if you keep all that space while my kids share one room?" I stood, placing my napkin beside my untouched plate. "Watch me not help." I walked out, ignoring their calls to come back to be reasonable. In my car, my phone buzzed with their angry texts. I silenced it, wondering if standing my ground was worth losing my family. Could I find a compromise without sacrificing everything? But the memory of Sarah's Facebook post killed that thought. They never planned to ask. They planned to take. 3 days later, notifications hit my phone like tiny bombs. Sarah's latest Facebook post showed her kids on a pull-out sofa, faces arranged in exaggerated pouts. The caption: "When family abandonment means your kids don't have proper bedrooms. Family first, unless you're selfish." Comments poured in from neighbors, church friends, even Mrs. Larson, my old third-grade teacher. "Your mother showed me your house photos. So much space for one person. I raised 4 kids in half that size." My stomach twisted. Mom had shared pictures of my home online with captions about forgetting your roots and success going to your head. The betrayal burned, not just from Sarah, but from Mom, who I thought might still see me as her daughter, not just Sarah's support system. The doorbell rang, and through the peephole I saw Pastor Evans, Bible in hand. This wasn't random. "I'm not available today," I called through the door. "Emma, I've known you since Sunday school," he replied. "Your family's concerned. As your spiritual advisor." "I didn't ask for advice," I cut in, firmer than I'd ever been. "Please respect my privacy," he sighed. "I'll pray for your heart to soften." After he left, I sat at my kitchen table, listing every violation since I'd kicked them out. The key theft, the Facebook post, Mom's smear campaign. Then I discovered something worse. My mortgage statement hadn't arrived. I called the bank. "We've been sending it to your updated address," the representative said. "Your parents requested we forward your documents to their home for safekeeping." The violation left me breathless. They'd nearly succeeded. What else were they diverting? I lay awake that night, jumping at every creak, dreading the next day's mail. They'd even contacted my HOA, claiming I was running a business from my home. A lie that forced me to submit paperwork proving I only worked from home occasionally. I fought back, small steps at first. I changed passwords, set up mail forwarding to my workplace, and installed security cameras at every entrance. Documenting each contact, texts, posts, calls, steadied my shaking hands. When the security company finished, my home felt like a fortress, a mix of safety and sadness. A small miracle came the next morning. A loaf of homemade bread sat on my desk at work, wrapped in brown paper with a note from Lisa, a coworker. "Sorry I mentioned your new place. Not everyone thinks you're wrong. Some of us wish we'd set boundaries years ago." Tears stung my eyes. I hadn't realized how alone I'd felt until that gesture. That evening, I pulled into my driveway to find Sarah's SUV parked out front, shadows moving inside my house. The violation hit, but a new, cold anger steadied me. I called the police from my car, watching neighbors peek from their windows. When the officer arrived, my family spilled onto the porch. Mom indignant, Dad red-faced, Sarah clutching her purse like a shield. "She's throwing her own family out," Sarah cried. Mom wailed, "How could you call the police on your blood? What will people think?" "I don't care what they think," I said, showing the officer my camera footage. "I didn't give them permission to enter." The officer warned them about trespassing and escorted them off. As they drove away, I realized I'd spent my life fearing their disappointment, measuring my worth by their approval. But they'd never valued my choices, my independence, my right to a life not defined by their needs. I met Tom, a college friend turned family lawyer, for coffee the next day. He reviewed my notes, every text, post, and violation. "They're weaponizing your guilt," he said. They've done it your whole life. A cease and desist letter will set clear boundaries. We drafted it together and I delivered it to Mom. She didn't open it, just stared with wounded eyes. "You'll regret this," she whispered, but took the envelope. 3 days of silence followed, the first full nights of sleep I'd had in weeks. Then the escalation came. Lisa warned me at work. "Your parents are in the lobby, saying Sarah's in an accident." I checked my phone. Sarah's text about her kids' lunches was timestamped minutes ago. I found Mom and Dad arguing with the receptionist, Mom dabbing dry eyes, Dad demanding I come out for a family emergency. "I just texted Sarah," I said, stepping into view. "She's fine." Mom dropped the tissue. "Emma, we've been so worried. My family's lying about an emergency to disrupt my work," I told my boss, who'd appeared beside me. Security escorted them out as I returned to my desk, ignoring their stares. That night I found Sarah's latest attack, a GoFundMe titled "Housing Crisis. Help my kids have a home," with my photo splashed across it. One email to the platform's legal team citing unauthorized use, and it was gone by morning. Dad's voicemail slipped into truth. "You ungrateful, do you know what you've done? We were moving in whether you liked it or not." I saved it, a grim smile on my face. When my company announced an opening in Colorado Springs, I saw a lifeline. Was moving running away or running toward freedom? My support system rallied. Tom with legal advice, Lisa blocking Sarah at work, my realtor friend Anna suggesting motion sensor lights and a reinforced back door. Even family began to shift. Aunt Linda called, hesitant. "What's the other side of this story?" Cousin Mike messaged. "It's not right what they're asking." Sarah's social media campaign backfired. Friends commented, "Why can't you and David support your kids? And isn't Emma single? Why should she house your family?" Their perfect facade cracked. Mom's final attempt came with a cherry pie, Sarah's favorite, not mine, despite my corrections over the years. She stood in my kitchen, nervous under the blinking security camera. "We got off on the wrong foot," she said, voice too sweet. "We found properties, 5 bedrooms, space for everyone." She slid listings toward me, prices triple my cottage's cost. "You sell this place, we move together. There's a mother-in-law suite for Sarah's family." "You toured houses in my name?" My calm surprised me. "We had to move fast," she said. "If you're difficult, we could contest ownership. You couldn't have afforded this without family help." "Family help?" I laughed bitterly. "You mean the rent I paid in your basement during college, or my student loans while you funded Sarah's tuition and apartment?" Her face hardened. "Don't be ungrateful." I slid a folder across the counter. Rent receipts, birthday expense comparisons, loan papers for Sarah's cars versus my used Honda, and security footage of 17 unauthorized entry attempts. "I'm moving to Arizona," I said. "I accepted a job there, I'm selling the cottage." "Arizona?" Her voice faltered. "What about Sarah? Not my concern." 3 days later, I arrived at a family meeting at my parents' house. The driveway was packed. Aunt Linda's car, Cousin Mike's SUV, even Grandma's old Buick. Inside, Mom, Dad, and Sarah sat together, the extended family in a semicircle, ready to witness my surrender. Dad stood with a forced smile. We were about to explain our solution. I placed my folder on the coffee table, opening it to reveal my cottage's listing, marked for sale. "My house goes on the market Monday," I said. "I've accepted a job in Arizona. I'm moving next month." Sarah shrieked. "What about us? Where are we supposed to go?" "The same place you've been living," I said, "if you hadn't tried to take what's mine." Dad's face reddened. "This is how you abandon family." I passed copies of my evidence to Aunt Linda and Grandma. Rent records, birthday disparities, security footage of Mom and Sarah trying keys in my lock. The GoFundMe lies. Aunt Linda gasped, "You made Emma pay rent while funding Sarah's apartment." "It built character," Dad snapped, but his voice wavered as family members scanned the papers. Grandma's hand covered her mouth. "Is this true?" Their silence answered. As I drove home, texts came. Not from Mom or Dad, but from Aunt Linda, Mike, Grandma. Support, questions, doubts about the family narrative. 2 days later, my realtor called. Offer came in $20,000 over asking, cash, 30-day close. "I'll take it," I said. "The spare keys, keep them?" she asked. "Discard them," I replied. "I won't need them where I'm going."